Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Have you ever been disrespected? Have you ever been in a moment where someone's words or actions left you feeling hurt, angry, or frustrated? In those moments, the urge to respond is often overwhelming. We want to defend ourselves, set the record straight, or simply make the person who disrespected us feel the sting of their own words. But here's the truth: sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Let's talk about silence. In the face of disrespect, silence isn't a weakness, it's a choice. It's the decision to step back, to pause before reacting, and to understand that our response is just as important as the action that triggered it. This is the moment when you reclaim control over your emotions. You don't let the disrespect dictate your behavior. Instead, you decide how to carry yourself, not based on the disrespect of others, but based on the values you hold within. Silence gives you the opportunity to reflect. It's in this moment of pause that clarity comes. Instead of getting lost in the heat of the moment, you can assess the situation from a distance, seeing it for what it truly is. This reflection allows us to choose the best path forward, not one driven by emotion, but by wisdom. Let's be clear, silence is not submission. It's strength. It's restraint. It's restraint. It's the realization that you don't need to stoop to someone else's level to prove your worth. By remaining calm, composed, and silent, you send a message that your dignity cannot be shaken by the words or actions of others. You have nothing to prove through confrontation. Your character speaks for itself. But most importantly, when we stay quiet, we preserve our own peace. We protect our self-respect. It's so easy to fall into the trap of reacting, to feel as though we need to immediately defend ourselves. But when we respond out of anger or frustration, we risk losing our own sense of peace. By staying quiet, we protect our emotional well-being and remind ourselves that our worth isn't defined by how others treat us. And here's the powerful part: our silence speaks volumes. When you don't react, people notice. Your actions will show who you are, what you value, and the strength you possess. In the end, it is not the words we say in moments of conflict that define us, but the calm we maintain and the grace we demonstrate in response. So the next time you face disrespect, remember, silence is not the absence of action. It is the space in which we regain our power, reflect on our values, and choose to act with integrity. In this silence, we don't just avoid conflict, we rise above it. And in doing so, we show the world that we are not defined by the actions of others, but by how we choose to carry ourselves in the face of adversity. Silence has an incredible power that many often overlook. In a world where we are constantly surrounded by noise, be it in the form of words, opinions, or the constant hum of activity, there is something profound about choosing to remain quiet in moments of conflict or disrespect. Silence is not simply the absence of sound, it is a powerful tool that allows us to regain control, gather our thoughts, and act with purpose rather than reacting impulsively. When faced with disrespect, our first instinct might be to speak out or defend ourselves. We feel hurt, angry, or misunderstood, and we want to set things straight. However, in those heated moments, reacting immediately can often lead to regret. Words spoken in anger or frustration can't be taken back, and they can escalate the situation further. Silence, on the other hand, gives us the space to pause. It allows us to reflect on the situation and choose a response that aligns with our values and dignity, rather than one fueled by emotion. The true power of silence lies in its ability to grant us emotional control. When we stay quiet, we stop ourselves from being controlled by the immediate impulses that arise in moments of disrespect. We gain the strength to process our feelings and understand the situation more clearly. It's in these moments of stillness that we often come to the realization that responding in kind won't solve anything. Instead, it allows us to step back and make the decision to act or not act from a place of strength and wisdom. Remaining silent doesn't mean we are weak or submissive. In fact, it is a form of strength in itself. It takes immense self-discipline and maturity to refrain from reacting to hurtful words or actions. By staying quiet, we demonstrate that we do not need to engage in negativity or prove our worth through confrontation. Our silence signals to others that we are not interested in playing the same game. We rise above the situation, choosing not to lower ourselves to the level of disrespect. Moreover, silence preserves our inner peace. The constant urge to respond to every slight or injustice can lead to emotional burnout. By choosing to remain quiet, we protect our peace of mind and our emotional well-being. We no longer feel the need to prove ourselves through every exchange. Silence allows us to detach from the emotional turmoil of the moment and center ourselves. In doing so, we create space to heal, reflect, and move forward without carrying the weight of conflict with us. In the end, silence becomes our most powerful form of communication. It speaks louder than any words ever could. It is in these moments of quiet strength that others notice our resilience, our grace, and our capacity for emotional intelligence. Rather than fueling the fire of disrespect, we allow the situation to dissipate naturally, showing that our integrity is not dependent on others' actions or words. Our silence becomes a reflection of our maturity, wisdom, and self-respect, demonstrating that we are in control of how we respond, no matter the circumstances. Emotional control is one of the most powerful tools we can possess in life. It is the ability to pause, to take a step back, and to choose our response in situations that might otherwise provoke an emotional outburst. In a world that often encourages immediate reactions, emotional control stands as a quiet strength. It enables us to navigate through moments of conflict, hurt, and disrespect with clarity and grace. When we encounter disrespect, our emotions naturally rise to the surface. Anger, frustration, and even hurt can surge through us, and our first impulse might be to respond in kind, to fight back with words, or even with actions. This is where emotional control comes in. Instead of acting on those raw emotions, we can take a moment to breathe and center ourselves, to consider whether reacting is truly the best course of action. This brief pause is not about suppressing emotions, but about choosing to process them before they dictate our actions. The ability to control our emotions doesn't mean we are detached or indifferent to what's happening around us. It means we are aware of our emotions and can choose to acknowledge them without letting them control our behavior. This awareness allows us to reflect on the bigger picture, to understand the deeper motivations behind the disrespect, and to assess the situation more objectively. When we allow ourselves to feel the initial wave of emotion and then step back, we can avoid saying things we might later regret or escalating the conflict unnecessarily. Emotional control also provides us with the space to decide how we want to be perceived. When we respond impulsively or out of anger, we risk losing our sense of self. Our words and actions might betray the person we strive to be, and we could end up reinforcing the negativity that was aimed at us. By controlling our emotions, we maintain our integrity and preserve our dignity. We show that we are not governed by the whims of others, and that our sense of self-worth is not tied to how we are treated. Instead, we demonstrate that our character is defined by how we choose to respond to adversity. This control is not about denying our feelings or pretending that we are unaffected by what others do or say. It's about recognizing the power that comes with choosing a measured response. It's about understanding that emotions are valid and important, but they don't need to drive us to react in ways that harm us or others. Emotional control allows us to approach situations from a place of strength and intentionality, to respond in a way that aligns with our values rather than with the emotional intensity of the moment. In moments of disrespect, when we hold back from reacting impulsively, we are also creating space for better communication. By choosing not to respond right away, we avoid escalating the tension, and we give the other person the chance to reflect on their own actions. Our composed response can sometimes lead to greater understanding and resolution, as it invites the situation to be diffused rather than intensified. Ultimately, emotional control is not about being perfect or suppressing emotions altogether. It's about mastering the art of responding with intention rather than reacting out of habit or impulse. It's about making the choice to stay calm, stay centered, and choose how we will respond, even in the most difficult situations. In doing so, we not only protect ourselves from regret, but also create an environment where we are less likely to perpetuate negativity, making emotional control one of the most valuable skills in navigating the complexities of human interaction. Strength through restraint is a concept that may seem counterintuitive at first. In a world where boldness, assertiveness, and immediate action are often celebrated, the idea of restraining oneself in moments of conflict or challenge can appear as a sign of weakness. However, true strength often lies not in the ability to act impulsively, but in the ability to hold back and make a conscious decision about how we respond. Restraint in the face of disrespect is a profound demonstration of self-discipline. It's the ability to control your impulses and emotions even when provoked, The strength to pause before reacting, to not give in to the desire to lash out or defend yourself, requires a level of maturity and an inner fortitude that is far greater than simply reacting in the moment. It shows that you are not ruled by the circumstances around you or the behavior of others. Instead, you are in control of yourself and your actions, and that control becomes an expression of your true power. When we choose restraint, we are not passive or submissive, we are asserting control over the situation in a much more profound way. In choosing not to engage in an immediate confrontation, we are showing that we are above the need for validation through conflict. We understand that our worth is not determined by how others treat us, and we do not need to prove our strength by fighting back. Instead, we demonstrate that we have the power to decide when and how to respond, choosing to engage with wisdom rather than with impulse. This kind of restraint doesn't mean we are indifferent to what is happening. On the contrary, it often reflects a deeper understanding of the situation. We recognize that reacting hastily to disrespect can escalate the conflict or perpetuate negativity. By holding back, we create the space for a more thoughtful, measured response that can either diffuse the situation or make a more meaningful impact later. Restraint, in this sense, becomes a tool for conflict resolution, as it prevents us from adding fuel to the fire and allows us to remain composed. Moreover, exercising restraint reinforces our self-respect. When we choose not to respond impulsively, we show ourselves that we are not easily swayed or manipulated by the actions of others. It is an affirmation of our own boundaries and values. In these moments, we stand firm not just in the face of others, but also in our own sense of self-worth. Restraint teaches us that we do not need to engage in every battle, and that true strength often lies in the decision to rise above petty conflicts and preserve our integrity. Restraint also communicates a message to others. By choosing not to react negatively or confrontationally, we set an example of how to handle conflict with grace and dignity. Others may take note of how we maintain composure even in challenging situations, and in turn, they may learn to adopt similar approaches in their own lives. Restraint shows that we value our peace of mind and emotional well-being more than the fleeting satisfaction of a quick retort or reaction. In the long run, strength through restraint is one of the most effective ways to preserve our emotional energy. It allows us to avoid unnecessary stress and conflict, ensuring that we focus our energy on what truly matters. By exercising restraint, we not only protect ourselves from the potential harm that comes with impulsive reactions, but we also elevate our ability to make decisions that reflect our highest values. In this sense, strength through restraint is not about holding back for the sake of it. It is about choosing to act from a place of wisdom, control, and respect for both ourselves and others. The value of reflection is often underestimated in our fast-paced world, where decisions are frequently made in the heat of the moment and emotions run high. In times of conflict or disrespect, the urge to respond quickly can feel almost instinctive, but it's in these very moments that the power of reflection can make all the difference. Reflection is not just about looking back, but about creating space to understand what is happening within and around us before acting. When faced with a disrespectful situation, it's easy to get caught up in the emotions of the moment. Anger, frustration, and hurt can cloud our judgment, pushing us toward an immediate reaction. Yet, if we take a step back and reflect, we open ourselves to a deeper understanding of the situation. Reflection allows us to examine not only what was said or done to us, but also why we are feeling the way we are. It invites us to consider our own triggers, beliefs, and values, providing clarity on what is truly at stake. This pause to reflect enables us to see the bigger picture. Instead of getting lost in the heat of the moment, reflection gives us the space to recognize patterns in our own behavior or the behavior of others. It helps us to discern whether the disrespect is truly about us or if it stems from something within the other person, a bad day, insecurities, or a lack of understanding. By stepping away from our immediate emotional reaction, we allow ourselves to process the situation more objectively. This shift in perspective often reveals that the conflict may not be as personal as it first seemed. Reflection also allows us to evaluate the consequences of our potential actions. When we pause before responding, we give ourselves the opportunity to consider the impact of our words and behaviors. How will our response affect the situation? Will it diffuse the tension, or will it escalate things further? Reflection helps us understand that reacting impulsively out of anger or hurt often leads to regret. By taking time to reflect, we are more likely to choose a response that is calm, measured, and aligned with our values. This not only helps to avoid further conflict, but also allows us to maintain control of the situation and our own emotional state. Moreover, the value of reflection lies in its ability to guide personal growth. Each experience, especially the difficult ones, offers an opportunity to learn more about ourselves. When we reflect on how we reacted to disrespect, we gain insight into our own emotional patterns and triggers. Over time, this practice of reflection can help us build greater emotional intelligence, teaching us how to respond to future situations with greater wisdom and composure. We begin to understand ourselves better and develop a greater sense of empathy for others. In this way, reflection becomes a tool for continuous self-improvement. Reflection also fosters a sense of inner peace. By choosing to pause and reflect before responding, we avoid the emotional turbulence that comes with rash decisions. We create a buffer between the external world and our internal state, allowing ourselves to remain grounded and centered no matter what is happening around us. This internal peace enables us to approach life's challenges with a calm demeanor, unshaken by the reactions of others. The more we reflect and act thoughtfully, the more we cultivate a sense of calm that remains with us in all situations. In the end, the value of reflection is clear. It offers us the opportunity to choose a more thoughtful, intentional response rather than being driven by emotion. It empowers us to learn from each situation, to grow, and to protect our emotional well-being. Reflection is a vital practice that, when embraced, not only leads to more effective conflict resolution, but also strengthens our ability to navigate the complexities of life with wisdom and grace. It reminds us that we are not merely reactors to life's events, we are active participants in shaping how we respond and how we move forward. Respecting yourself is one of the most fundamental and transformative practices you can engage in. It is the cornerstone of healthy relationships, personal growth, and emotional well-being. Self-respect is not simply about recognizing your own worth in moments of success, but about maintaining your dignity and integrity, even in the face of adversity or disrespect. It is the deep understanding that your value is not determined by the opinions or actions of others, but by how you perceive and treat yourself. When faced with disrespect, whether from others or circumstances, respecting yourself means not compromising your values or lowering your standards in order to respond to negativity. It's easy to fall into the trap of trying to get even, or seek validation through confrontation. But true self-respect lies in the ability to rise above those impulses. When you respect yourself, you don't allow the disrespect of others to dictate how you feel about yourself. Instead, you choose to maintain your own sense of worth and composure, refusing to let someone else's actions diminish your own self-esteem. This practice of respecting yourself also means setting boundaries. When you allow others to disrespect you, you are, in a sense, disrespecting yourself by not standing up for what you deserve. Self-respect requires that you draw clear lines, communicate your needs, and walk away from situations or people that undermine your dignity. It is about understanding that you are worthy of kindness, fairness, and understanding, and refusing to accept anything less. By maintaining healthy boundaries, you demonstrate to others that you value yourself and that you will not tolerate mistreatment. In this way, you not only protect your emotional well-being, but also teach others how to treat you. Respecting yourself also involves taking responsibility for your own happiness and well-being. It is easy to fall into the trap of expecting others to make us feel valued or loved, but self-respect means recognizing that our happiness is our own responsibility. When we honor ourselves, we make decisions that align with our values, priorities, and long-term well-being. We do not let the approval or disapproval of others dictate our choices. Instead, we choose to make decisions that reflect our authentic selves, knowing that we deserve to live in alignment with who we truly are. This also means accepting ourselves, flaws and all. Self-respect is not about being perfect. It's about embracing who we are in all our complexity, recognizing both our strengths and our weaknesses without judgment. It's about forgiving ourselves for past mistakes, learning from them, and moving forward with a sense of confidence in our ability to grow and improve. When we respect ourselves, we do not allow shame or guilt to define us. We understand that making mistakes is part of being human, and rather than beating ourselves up, we choose to treat ourselves with kindness and understanding. Furthermore, self-respect involves practicing self-care. This is not just about physical health, but also emotional and mental well-being. It means recognizing when you need rest, when you need to recharge, and when you need to recharge, and when you need to step back from toxic situations or relationships. It's about nurturing yourself in a way that supports your growth and peace of mind. By making time for yourself, taking care of your needs, and prioritizing your mental and emotional health, you show that you value yourself and your well-being above all else. Respecting yourself is an act of empowerment. It allows you to walk through life with confidence, knowing that you are worthy of love, respect, and happiness. It enables you to stand firm in the face of challenges, knowing that your self-worth is not dependent on external validation. When you respect yourself, you are not swayed by the opinions of others or by negative circumstances. You are anchored in your own belief in your value. This inner strength becomes the foundation for all that you do, and it radiates outward, influencing how others perceive and interact with you. In this way, self-respect becomes not just a personal practice, but a powerful force that shapes the way you engage with the world. Letting actions speak is a powerful principle that transcends words and communicates much more than what we can articulate through speech. Words are easy to say, but actions carry a weight that is undeniable. In moments of disrespect or conflict, it's often tempting to defend ourselves, to explain our side, or to retaliate with words that match the intensity of what we've experienced. However, letting our actions speak allows us to rise above these impulses, choosing to demonstrate who we truly are through our behavior, rather than getting caught in the noise of verbal exchanges. When we let our actions speak, we prioritize what we do over what we say. Words are fleeting and can sometimes be misunderstood, but actions are tangible and leave lasting impressions. By choosing to act with integrity, kindness, and composure, even when we are faced with disrespect, we communicate far more about our character than any argument or explanation could ever convey. In this way, actions become a reflection of our values and who we are as individuals. There is something incredibly powerful about responding to disrespect with grace and restraint. It's in these moments that our actions truly define us. Instead of engaging in a battle of words or escalating the situation, we let our actions show that we are above the negativity and are committed to maintaining our peace. Whether it's through a calm demeanor, walking away from an unproductive situation, or simply choosing to not retaliate, our actions speak volumes about our strength, maturity, and self-respect. Letting actions speak also means taking responsibility for the impact we have on others. Words can be easy to dismiss, but actions have consequences that are harder to ignore. By choosing to act in ways that are thoughtful, constructive, and aligned with our values, we create a ripple effect of positive energy. When we show others respect, even when they may not show the same in return, we set an example of how to handle difficult situations with dignity. Our actions become a guide for others to follow, demonstrating that respect and kindness are not conditional upon how others behave toward us. Moreover, actions are often more persuasive than words. Anyone can say something, but it's in the doing that true intentions are revealed. We can talk about our values, but unless we act in alignment with them, those words lose their meaning. If we want to show that we are strong in the face of disrespect, that we value our peace over conflict, or that we hold ourselves to high standards, it is through our actions that these qualities are communicated. A person who consistently shows respect through their actions, whether by offering kindness in the face of criticism or choosing not to engage in petty arguments, speaks louder than any proclamation of integrity ever could. In addition, letting our actions speak also frees us from the need to defend ourselves verbally. When we focus on doing rather than explaining, we remove ourselves from the need for validation of others. Our actions stand on their own, and we no longer have to convince anyone of our worth or intentions. People will come to see who we truly are through the consistency of our actions, and in turn, we find peace in knowing that we are living in alignment with our highest self, regardless of external opinions or challenges. In times of disrespect, letting actions speak becomes an act of profound self-respect. It is choosing to stay true to who we are, regardless of the negativity around us. Instead of responding to disrespect with more negativity, we elevate the situation by letting our actions reflect our strength, dignity, and grace. In doing so, we send a powerful message not just to others, but to ourselves that we are in control of how we respond, and that our actions will always speak louder than any words could. Through this approach, we affirm that our value is not dependent on the approval of others, but on the authenticity of our actions. In conclusion, the ability to stay quiet after disrespect, harness emotional control, and reflect on our actions is not a sign of weakness, but of profound strength. By respecting ourselves and allowing our actions to speak louder than words, we demonstrate a level of maturity and self-awareness that transcends the immediate emotions of the moment. It is in these moments of restraint, reflection, and dignity that we find our true power. We show the world that we are not defined by how others treat us, but by how we choose to respond. And in doing so, we maintain our integrity, protect our peace, and build stronger, more meaningful connections with others. Ultimately, by staying true to our values and letting our actions reflect our character, we rise above disrespect and create a life rooted in respect, wisdom, and emotional strength.